Do you want to discover which common food might be making you feel bloated and heavy without you realizing it? Today, I reveal what I avoid eating when I want to feel light and bloat-free. I am Dr. Emma, a wellness and health specialist with over 20 years of experience helping older adults live better. Throughout my career, I have learned that it is not enough to know what foods to include in our diet, but also which ones are better to leave out to avoid that uncomfortable feeling of heaviness and abdominal discomfort. Before we start, let me know in the comments where you are watching this video from, so I can see how far it has reached. Today, I want to tell you which foods I personally eliminate or drastically reduce when I want to feel lighter, more energetic, and free from that uncomfortable bloating that often affects our daily lives. First, white bread. Although it is a staple on many tables, white bread has a high glycemic index that can cause inflammation and water retention. I replace it with whole grain breads and instead prefer to increase the consumption of fresh fruits and cooked vegetables, which help regulate digestion and provide essential nutrients without causing bloating. Another group I avoid is processed meats. These processed products contain high amounts of sodium and preservatives that can cause water retention and increase the sensation of abdominal inflammation. Instead, I opt for natural protein sources like chicken, fish, or soft legumes, which not only nourish, but also contribute to good digestion. Fried foods are definitely another category I leave out when I want to feel light. The oils used for frying oxidize and are difficult to digest, causing stomach discomfort. I prefer steamed, baked, or sautéed meals with a little extra virgin olive oil, which are healthier and easier on our digestive system. Finally, carbonated drinks are one of the most common causes of bloating. The gas they contain can create pressure in the abdomen and intensify the feeling of heaviness. Instead, I drink plain water, herbal infusions, or lemon water, which help me stay hydrated and activate metabolism without discomfort. This simple change in my diet, avoiding these 4 food groups and choosing fresh and natural options, has been key to improving my digestion, reducing inflammation, and having more energy throughout the day. If you want to feel light, bloat-free, and more vital, I invite you to try these tips and, above all, listen to your body. Every person is different, but reducing these foods can make a big difference in how you feel. Don't forget to leave me a comment telling me which of these foods you consume frequently, and if you would like me to prepare more content about healthy habits to feel better every day. Thank you for joining me. I am Dr. Emma, and I'll see you in the next video to keep learning how to take care of our body and well-being. Besides choosing what to avoid, I learned that the way I prepare my food also plays a fundamental role in feeling light. For example, when I cook vegetables, I prefer to steam them or gently sauté them with a little olive oil rather than frying them or using too many spices that might irritate the stomach. I also make sure my meals are balanced, combining fiber, protein, and healthy fats, because this keeps my energy stable throughout the day and prevents those inflammation spikes that cause that annoying bloating. One of the changes that helped me the most was giving up baked goods and heavy doughs, which, although part of our culture and cravings, usually cause slow digestion and water retention. Instead, I incorporated more fresh fruits like pineapple or papaya, which have natural enzymes to facilitate digestion, and well-cooked legumes, which provide fiber without causing gas, as long as you prepare them properly. It's not necessary to make extreme changes or completely eliminate foods you enjoy, but to be aware of the moment when your body speaks to you, when what you want is to feel lighter and without that heavy feeling that sometimes seems to shadow the day uncomfortably. Another key is clearly listening to your body and giving it time to adapt. When I started avoiding those foods that caused me bloating, I noticed that at first, I went to the kitchen looking for sugar or processed snacks as usual, but little by little those cravings decreased. And cravings for natural foods that I hadn't even paid attention to before began to appear. I also learned to drink water mindfully, staying hydrated throughout the day, because that simple action helps eliminate toxins and improves digestion. There's nothing more satisfying than feeling your body clean, light, and full of energy to enjoy what really matters. You may wonder if these changes affect the pleasure of eating. The truth is that the magic lies in learning to rediscover authentic flavors and prepare dishes that, although simple, are delicious and above all nutritious. Cooking calmly, with ingredients that nourish and care, becomes an act of self-love, a way to connect with yourself and your real needs. I invite you to think about which foods make you feel heavy or bloated and try to gradually replace them with options that give your body what it really needs. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, but every small step counts and adds up so that at the end of the day, you can look at yourself in the mirror and feel light, free, and full of life. I'm sure changing habits isn't easy, especially in a world where fast and processed food is so accessible, but I also know that when you decide to take care of your body through nutrition, you're taking a big leap toward deep and lasting well-being. Because, in the end, true lightness is not just physical, it's a feeling born of balance, knowing that you chose what's best for you and that transforms you inside and out. What if, instead of enduring that daily bloating, you gave yourself the chance to feel deeply and genuinely well? Perhaps there lies the difference between merely existing and truly living each day with energy, joy, and a peace that comes from within. Sometimes, what we least expect can be what helps us the most. On my journey toward feeling light, I realized that it is also crucial to pay attention to the textures and combinations within each meal. For example, I learned to avoid combining many heavy proteins with refined carbohydrates in the same meal because that mix usually ends up feeling like an extra burden for the body. Instead, I opt for simple and well-balanced dishes that allow me to make the most of the nutrients without feeling that sensation of fullness that often accompanies us after eating. The key is to listen, without rushing, to how your body responds after each food, and to build your meals little by little with that information until you find what really works for you. I also incorporated the habit of chewing slowly and calmly, something that might sound basic, but has a huge impact. By chewing well, you help your digestive system work more efficiently, which reduces gas production and bloating. Gradually, this simple gesture became a kind of ritual, a time to connect with myself and give thanks for the food I am about to enjoy. Additionally, this helped me become more aware of fullness signals, avoiding overeating, which is one of the most common causes of discomfort after meals. Another strategy one adopted is dividing my meals into smaller, more frequent portions instead of large, heavy ones. This way, I keep my metabolism active and avoid feeling heavy or experiencing that uncomfortable pressure in my abdomen. By avoiding those high glucose spikes, my energy remains stable, which reflects in better mood and greater productivity throughout the day. Over time, I noticed that this also affects my sleep. A less loaded stomach facilitates deeper rest, and when we rest well, our body responds with more vitality the next day. I can't fail to mention the importance of movement. After eating, I try to walk a little, even if it's just 10 minutes around the house or office. That simple action stimulates digestion and reduces the feeling of bloating that sometimes accompanies us after meals. It's not about doing intense exercise, but about allowing our body to activate gently to better process what we have eaten, without it becoming a heavy obligation, but rather a rejuvenating pause. This whole process also led me to review my habits regarding drinks. For example, I started avoiding alcohol when I want to feel light because, even if we don't always notice it directly, it can promote fluid retention and inflammation. Instead, I increase my intake of natural infusions, like ginger or chamomile tea, which have anti-inflammatory and digestive properties. These small actions have given me greater control over how I feel and have allowed me to break patterns I once thought were unchangeable. The most powerful part of this journey is not just the physical change, but the transformation in my relationship with my body and food. I began to understand that taking care of myself means consciously choosing and honoring my internal signals, recognizing when I need rest, when it's time to nourish myself, or simply to give myself a moment of calm. The lightness I seek is not a temporary state, but a way of life to which I can return again and again, without guilt or pressure. Learning to see eating as an act of love has opened up spaces of well-being I never imagined possible. And it is precisely that learning I want to share with you because I know it's not about giving up, but about discovering new, healthier ways to take care of ourselves together. Perhaps the most revealing thing about all this is realizing that sometimes what seems simple is actually the great secret to feeling good. We are not lacking options. We just need to pay attention, be patient, and trust that our body knows what it needs. It just waits for us to listen with respect. What would happen if you start today to notice and honor those little signals in your body? What would happen if, instead of ignoring bloating or heaviness, you decide to understand what your body is trying to tell you? The answer is often right there, waiting for you to dare to take the first step, and that very first step can transform not only your physical well-being but your entire life. And although these changes may seem small, their impact on my daily well-being has been profound. I realized that living lightly is not about magic formulas or extreme sacrifices, but about building a kind and constant dialogue with our body. Every step we take, every decision we make to nourish ourselves with intention, opens the door to a healthier, more vibrant state. It's not always easy. There are days when temptation points strongly at us or stress silences that inner voice that guides us. But it is precisely at those moments when we most need to remember that the power is in our hands, that we can choose with love and patience, not with urgency or punishment. The most fascinating thing is that when you start to listen, you are surprised by the number of signals your body shows you, sometimes in the form of small discomforts, other times in renewed energy or the desire to move. You learn to distinguish the difference between hunger and anxiety, between real need and habit. And that wisdom, which is not in any book or diet, is what truly transforms you. I began to take time to measure those sensations, to silently ask what I really need, and the answer always came clearly, because our body is our most sincere ally. With this conscious care, I also discovered that lightness is not limited to the physical aspect. It expands to the mind and heart. Feeling light means letting go of emotional burdens that we often carry without realizing it, learning to say no when something is not good for us, and tenderly accepting our limits. It is a path of self-compassion that, little by little, shapes a more authentic and genuine version of ourselves. It's not about seeking perfection, but about honoring each moment with presence and gratitude, allowing fullness to exist in the small daily choices. And here is the paradox. By avoiding certain foods and habits to feel lighter, I gained much more than calm digestion or less bloating. I gained a deep connection with my body, a permanent invitation to mindfulness and self-care. That feeling of lightness translates into being more present in each moment, enjoying food more, having energy for my projects, my loved ones, and myself. And although it is not always easy to maintain this practice, every attempt is worth it because it is an act of love that reverberates in all areas of life. If you pause for a moment to think about this, you will notice that you too can start this process of listening and transformation. You don't need to take giant steps or change everything at once. Just start observing, trying, adjusting patiently until you find that balance that allows you to feel light and full. It is a personal, unique journey that deserves respect and dedication, but above all, trust in your own body and its incredible capacity to regenerate. In the end, what really matters is not eliminating meals or punishing yourself for what you eat, but learning to choose honestly and lovingly what helps us live better. It's like opening a door to a kinder version of yourself, where well-being is not a distant goal, but an everyday experience within reach. When you decide to listen and honor those small signals, you enter a transformative dialogue that can change not only how you feel after eating, but how you relate to yourself and the world around you. So I invite you, the next time you feel that bloating or that uncomfortable heaviness, to pause for a moment and ask yourself with curiosity what your body is trying to tell you. Perhaps you will discover that the solution was much closer than you imagined, in that simple conscious choice that can become the first step toward a lighter and more well life. Don't underestimate the power of those small changes, because there, right there, lies the magic that transforms not only your body, but your entire life. As I delved deeper into this attentive listening, I discovered that the body has its own rhythm, a way of communicating that we rarely respect in the whirlwind of daily life. It's not just about choosing a better food or avoiding another, but about recognizing how we feel before, during, and after eating. Sometimes, a simple fruit can be more satisfying than a piece of bread, and other times, what I really need isn't on the plate, but in a moment of rest or a little pause to breathe. That awareness of what truly nourishes us, physically, mentally, and emotionally, creates a space where well-being isn't sought outside, but born from within. And even though it's a path full of questions, doubts, and failed attempts, each of those moments is an opportunity to strengthen that internal dialogue. Because stopping going against ourselves is the deepest medicine I have discovered over these years. What I find most valuable is that this way of taking care of ourselves isn't limited to food. It changes the way we look at ourselves in the mirror and how we speak to ourselves. When I stop pretending to be perfect, let go of the demands, and honor my cycles, everything aligns more naturally. On days when I'm not feeling so light, I don't punish or blame myself. I simply observe, learn, and adjust. It's a very human path, full of internal conflicts, but also filled with lessons that transform not only the body, but the relationship we have with ourselves. This conscious self-care process has led me to understand that feeling light is a radical act of self-love and respect, a space where patience and compassion are the main guides. With every conscious choice, I feel like I rebuild a powerful alliance with my body, a trust that improves my quality of life in every way. That lightness I seek is like a whisper that grows stronger as I listen closely and accompanies me in moments that once went unnoticed, in the energy for a walk, in the mental clarity to make decisions, in the calm I find before sleeping. It's not about following rigid rules or giving up small pleasures, but about letting those choices flow with intention and kindness. That's why, more than avoiding certain foods, I've learned to choose based on how I want to feel and what my body needs at each stage. This change, which seems minimal, is actually a silent revolution, an everyday act that redefines the way we live our health and well-being. I remember that, at first, this transformation seemed too simple to produce a real impact, but the key lies in consistency and intention. There are no shortcuts or magic formulas, just a process of discovery that connects us with our deepest essence. And that's precisely where the power lies, in the trust that our body knows what it needs and in the courage to listen without judgment. Thus, the lightness we long for becomes much more than a physical state. It's a symbol of respect for ourselves, a reminder that we deserve to feel good, at peace, light in body and spirit. You might wonder, how to begin? The answer is simple but profound. Start by observing. Stop for a moment and feel with curiosity what is happening inside you. There's no need to make drastic changes or give up everything you like. Just start by noticing how certain foods or habits affect your body, by paying attention to those subtle signals that you sometimes ignore. Allow yourself to try, to make mistakes, to adjust the course. Transformation is neither linear nor perfect. It's a constant dance between learning and acceptance. And when you allow yourself to walk this path, something magical happens. You begin to appear more alive to yourself, with real capacity to choose with love and clarity. So, if you ever feel bloated, heavy, or simply disconnected from your energy, remember that you're not alone, nor is your body an enemy to punish. On the contrary, it is an ally always ready to guide us toward a more genuine, vibrant balance. Let that invitation move us gently, without rush or guilt. In that movement, no matter how small it seems, lies the great transformation waiting for you. May lightness then be the gift you give yourself every day, a silent act of love that can change everything. Just listen, trust, and begin. The well-being is waiting for you right here, in the next choice, in the next breath.